Welcome into DeRo and the Diehard, hosted by myself and, of course, the legendary Dwayne Rosario. It's good to be back, man. Episode 2, amazing. Getting some consistency going, and, I mean, in the right time, because there is plenty to talk about today.
Oh, man. Exciting. MLS.
Everything.
Fighting for the playoff berth. All the leagues in Europe started. South America. Man, I love this time of year.
I love this time of year because the Champions League is back and it's in full. And the games yesterday, did not disappoint. They did not disappoint. So why don't we just go right into that? Juve and Borussia Dortmund played a match yesterday in Torino. 4-4 tie. 2 extra time goals for that one. Just a great game. And then over the weekend, they also played Inter. And they also scored another 4 goals. And this comes off the back of last week we were talking about Juve, and I sat here like a complete dumbbell and said, I don't think they have a chance in Europe.
Well, listen, oh, wow, that's a big statement. I mean, yeah, Inter had a good run last year.
Yeah.
But hats off to Juve. I mean,
my God. Huge
win, 4-3 over Inter. And what I really liked about that was 4 different scores.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's great morale boost for Juve, and I think it was a timely win too.
Agreed.
We know that Juve, again, another massive club with a rich history. I see you representing.
I always do.
I see you representing. So Juve fans globally were very pleased, I think, to see that result against Inter.
I really enjoyed, like you said, 4 different scores, and I mean, of course, you were playing around the time of Lilian Thuram, so you got to, understand how great of a player he was.
Oh, man.
And both of his sons
amazing, huh?
are formidable.
Wow,
eh?
wow.
I mean, both of them, and then you see that they're kind of jockeying before Marcus scored the go-ahead goal. They're late on. And then he just, they're 2 great players, and I love the way they play, especially Marcus. He's such a, he's got this venom about his playing style. He's just so lethal, and I think it kind of goes underrated or unnoticed because, I mean, he's playing at France, so you're playing alongside Mbappe, and then luck of the draw, you're playing at Inter alongside Lautaro Martinez. It's like, oh my God, how do you shine in the spotlight of so many other stars?
But let's touch on that. Thuram's brothers just a little bit. I mean, they both score.
He's in the stands.
He's in the stands watching. So. As a dad, I mean, watching my son score and win a championship the other day.
Exactly.
I know it was a championship, but it was still a derby, right? And to see both your kids score and they both do the same celebration too. It's, hey man, I love it, man. I love to see former footballers, kids shining and doing well. I think it's a great story, and a proud moment. I mean, for a father, proud moment for brothers. And then you see them afterwards. Kind of embracing each other.
I also love how his dad, Lilian, is such an adamant Juventus fan. I remember there was this clip that circulated last year about Marcus celebrating some sort of victory against, maybe it was Juve or whatever it may have been, and his dad, Lilian, was there, and he was not happy about that victory at all.
Yeah.
It's his son playing, but he's like, no, he's got the black and white roots, right down to the bone.
Makes it known.
Oh, yeah.
It's remarkable. It's great to see. Like I said, great to see Juve. I mean, again, battle against Dortmund in Champions League, 4-4. Man, wow. It's not easy. It's not easy. No. Dortmund's a solid team. It's been a solid team for many, many years now. So, again, you have that, and then, you win against Inter. Things are looking pretty positive for Juve.
I like it, to be honest, and I really like the Turkish wonder kid they have, Kenan Yildiz. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it is about Turkish football right now, but they're having a moment where they're producing these number 10-esque, small, very skillful, very attacking-minded players.
Seba?
Yeah, Arda Güler.
Kind of its players.
Yeah, these guys that are smaller, really tricky, and they score, they seem to show up all the time. And Yildiz, he's wearing the number 10 for Juve. That's a heavy, heavy shirt to wear. I mean, I was wearing the jersey last week. That's Del Piero's number at that club. That's, Carlos Tevez, right? We're talking about legendary territory here. And he's owning it. He's owning it, and he's showing up, and it's it's lovely to see. And I mean,
what a player, man.
What a player. And I don't want to say like Juve are back or they're going to win or, they're going to have a serious shot in the Champions League. But I think I'm going to have to amend my statement from last week and a little bit and mention the fact that they're real. This is a real team, and I like what they're seeing. They've gone through a couple rough years there, but it's good. But let's go to our first topic of the day. Last week we started off with your Seattle Sounders resounding win against Miami, 3-0. The game after, they lose 3-0 again. And, we talk about they lose to Charlotte, and they go from controversial loss. Obviously, we talked about that already with the Suarez incident, the Busquets incident, to going to Charlotte to losing again. And it brings up questions for me. We were talking a bit before the recording. Obviously, they're reliant on Lionel Messi. I mean, what team wouldn't be? But God forbid, he's an aging guy. What happens to this team who are, I think they're in 8th place? What happens if Messi gets injured before the playoffs? Are they even going to make it, DeRo?
I think so. I think they will. Let's not forget they just brought in DePaul, right?
True.
And he's a beast.
He is a beast.
And he's still starting and playing with Argentina. He gives an element to Miami that I think it's a unique. I mean, just to have all these players on the field, all these stars, but he brings a different element that any team would need, right? His engine doesn't stop. He works tirelessly all over the field. And when you have a player like that on your field, it's infectious, right? It's infectious. Again, he's new to MLS. He's new to Inter Miami. He's new to North American lifestyle. But once he settles in, look out. I mean, yes, they were 8th, but after the win last night, they just jumped to 5th.
There you go.
So it's very tight in the Eastern Conference. Inter Miami for sure is looking very solid, a huge morale booster, beating the team that convincingly beat them in Seattle Sounders, and they took the game to them. And I think Seattle at first they didn't know what hit them, didn't know what to do, and Inter Miami approached the game as any team that just came off a big loss would. They came at Seattle. Of course, Messi's Messi. He did what Messi does,
pulling the strings,
and assists and goals. Man, what a player! What a player!
Yeah.
Now, as going back to your question, if he's out, of course it would be affected. But I think he leads with such a presence that there's belief building and restoring in that team now.
Yeah,
and they know they have to not only make the playoffs, but they have to make a good push in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. That's something I've noticed, like as he's aged as well with Argentina. It's like the players have really rallied around him to do everything they can to get him what he deserves, and it's great. Like I love seeing a player who's like Messi, who's been at the top for so long, who's had those chances with Argentina or wherever Barcelona, and he was the catalyst, he was the main driver. And it's something that I think started really around that last World Cup they won, where you had 10 other guys playing out of their mind and really doing it, obviously for the country, but doing it for the player. And, if what you're saying is right, then guys like DePaul, Busquets, Jordi Alba, like these are guys who played Suarez, who played with him for so long. Mm-hmm. And if he does have an absence, if they do need to step it up, I'm sure they will. The only questions that I have is that we're talking about mostly defensive-minded players. DePaul's an engine. Busquets is Busquets. He's older now. Jordi Alba's a left back. So, will they be able to step it up enough if in the event of something happening to him where they can be a successful team in the playoffs without that main piece?
Yeah, I think, DePaul covers a lot of the ground that Busquets can't cover.
Yeah.
Covers. And Busquets does the thinking that maybe DePaul, it's even hard to say that because he does pull strings as well. We saw it in Argentina win against Venezuela, and we saw it many times, even in the World Cup final, DePaul was pulling strings in that midfield, left, right, and center. Mm-hmm. So he has the capability of doing that, and he did it with Atletico Madrid for his whole career. So when you have players like that, it's hard to say they don't. I mean, Jordi Alba, you know what I mean, and they won without Suarez, and maybe that might be something that Mascherano's looking at and say, do we need a Messi and a Suarez, or can we use Messi and use Suarez in spurts, in different moments. Messi's going to play. Messi has to play. There's no question about it. But do you have to play Suarez?
Yeah.
That is the big question now.
He's very old, DeRo. You know, and he's got a lot of knee
He's very old, but he's still
injuries.
very smart. He's very old, but he's very smart. And he's still a very clever player that can punish you with one pass, one movement. He's very smart. He can use his wisdom now. He can use his experience and let that kind of take over instead of running guys down. Instead of doing that, even though that's his game, right? But he can do it a little bit more thoughtful. And I think Inter Miami is a team that, look out. I mean, because another win, they could be third, and then you're playing them. Could look at playing them maybe home. Everybody's trying to get into that top four.
Yeah,
home field advantage.
It feels like that. Like you don't really want to play them. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
definitely not.
You don't want to play them, let alone in Miami. You don't want to play them on a one-off match. Like it's just like it seems like one of those teams. Like they may not be the cream of the crop in the regular season or the most outstanding team. I just don't want to play them.
Yeah,
I don't want to play them.
Let's not forget at the World Club Championships, they're the only MLS team that made it out of their group.
Exactly.
Right, and then they go to the finals in the Leagues Cup.
So they're there,
and they're in the playoffs now.
Yeah.
So it's not like Mascherano is failing. He's doing something well. Like they're in the finals. We all know the finals. Give or take. Seattle's a tough place to play in. 5 finals at home, 5 wins.
Yeah.
So you tip your hat, but they're a team that you got to look out for. I think with or without Messi. Obviously, Messi is Messi. For me, greatest player. He brings so much to that team. He brings so much to any team. He brings so much to football, and I won't stop saying it. But a person with such a huge personality, to know he's not on the field and look over and know he's not there, you stand you favor your chances a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we're talking about a team that can pull out these hard victories and makes it a lot of places. I think it's only fitting to go the complete opposite direction. Last week, we talked in length about how bad the situation is in Manchester. And this week can only reaffirm that stance. In a rudderless loss, they are defeated 3-0 by Manchester City in a derby game. We saw no fight. There were no, as Roy Keane put it, there was no yellow cards. There was no drive. There was no anger. There seemed to be, like I said, it was a rudderless loss. They just didn't show up. And apart from a shot by Brendan Mbermo and a beautiful Donnarumma save, which, by the way, does City really need Gianluigi Donnarumma? Like, can we give it a rest here? Like, they go from Ederson to Donnarumma. I don't even know what to say anymore, DeRo, because we covered it a lot in the last episode. Yeah. But if he shouldn't be fired by now, what more is it going to take? And I like Amorin, so give me a little insight on where this could possibly go for him to get the sack.
Man, we talked about him getting sacked after the Grimsby game.
Yeah. Grimsby.
So now you lose again. Hey, they got a new stadium supposedly coming. So I guess that's the bright side.
Perfect.
And maybe they're waiting for the new stadium.
Place to lose.
That's a new place. A new play. Maybe they get a whole new facelift.
Yeah.
These teams and the world of football understands, and I think when we speak to all fans, the pedigree that these clubs bring to the world of football and internationally, and how much of a strong presence, and we spoke about it on our last show, of I think football needs Manchester United to do well. Mm-hmm. So in order for that to happen, they have to win Champions League. I mean, not win Champions League, but make Champions League. Not even win it. They need to. They need to make
a bit farther. Right? Reaching for the stars.
They need to make Champions League because of the money they get from Champions League.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then they can start using that purse. Just now, okay, let's go and buy some bigger name players. But if they don't make Champions League and they don't make these major tournaments, cuts are gonna have to happen. Players gonna have to they have to sell players. As we spoke about last episode, they got to get rid of staff because they don't have the revenue. But regarding the manager, I don't know what else is gonna have to happen. again, I know we all know the Prem is just started, but it's early doors, and for the fans, it's unsettling times. It's unsettling times.
Well, sometimes for United, it's like this.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
And mostly it's the latter. So, like, yesterday we talked at length about, or not yesterday, last episode we talked at length about the players who they selected for Grimsby and how they should have had a drive or some pride while wearing the badge, especially playing against a fourth league opposition. This time, I think we got to focus on who they played and where. And I think over the last 5 seasons, however poor they've been for Man United, the main guy that's been there and done bits, and actually his numbers are incredible, and we can see it, is Bruno Fernandes.
Mm-hmm.
And what has happened this year is that for some reason, they're playing 5 at the back. It's not working. It's his system, whatever. I mean, he's probably got a brilliant football mind compared to us, and compared to his professional colleagues, it's not that bright. But he plays Bruno in a deep line role. And for a guy that doesn't know about defending and needs to be on the ball to do what he does, it seems like you're shooting yourself in the foot. I don't understand the formation, and quite frankly, I don't get what he's trying to do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know what he's trying to do.
As a player, I mean, we had this conversation
He's
yesterday.
pulling at strings. He's pulling at all sorts of strings. He doesn't know.
Exactly.
Like, he's just say, okay, just try him here. Just put this guy here.
So,
it's not...
as a former player, DeRo, put yourself in his shoes. Like, obviously, you know where you excel and you know where you don't excel. So, if you are a Bruno Fernandes, you are the classical example and definition of a number 10, of a creative midfielder who's attacking minded. And you're getting played somewhere near the 6. And obviously it's not working out because that's not your position. Do you lose faith in the manager? Are you angry at the manager? Do you think you know better? Do you think, oh, put me here and we'll start winning and the team will go better? Like, what's your thoughts about that? What do you do in that situation if a manager is playing you where you're not supposed to be playing?
Well, it's a tough one because a footballer should be able to adapt, right?
Yeah.
And knowing the situation that's there, they desperately need results. So
yeah,
if the coach is putting you somewhere because they know you know that there's a gap there that needs to be filled. Mm-hmm. So you just do what you just do it and you try to do it to the best of your ability. But you're playing again, we're going back to playing a player that is playing out of position in a state where you need results. You need him on the ball, but he's playing so deep. So maybe he's thinking, okay, collect the balls from the center backs and help build our attack. Be the glue and connect the pieces. But he doesn't have the legs to cover so much ground, right? So you're kind of, he's doing that, but then you're creating a big gap between the 6 and 8, the 10, the 11, the 7, and it's like, okay, you guys go attack and we defend. You guys go attack and we defend. And there's just a big gap in the middle that is leaving holes, and teams are exploiting them.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that, so you put it perfectly. How can you leave a gap in debatably the most important part of the field?
It is the most important part.
When we talk about wins and losses and why you didn't win and why you lost, it's usually the conversation starts seemingly from a fan's perspective is we lost the midfield battle. And, he's technically on the field when we see it. He's only got 2 guys in there. Mm-hmm. And if you're 2 midfield players, like proper midfielders, are you Ugarte and Bruno, or they're Casemiro and Bruno, or they're Mount and Casemiro? Like Casemiro 5 years ago, and I love him as a player. He was a game breaker. But we're talking about Casemiro in 2025 here. Lay those 4 guys out on the table. None of them have the profile to do that with one other guy. Mm-hmm. It seems like, for me, they should be overloading that part of the field because every team comes in and goes, well, he plays a 5-2-3 or whatever the hell it is. We're just gonna overload the midfield,
right?
And you're gonna lose, and it happens every time.
Yeah, and it's hard with the wingers because now they are required to play a deeper role
Yeah.
and help out more defensively. So in the transition, in the attack, can they go up and down? Do you have two-way wingers that are able to transition on the attack to defense and vice versa on the defense to the attack for 90 minutes, right? It's knowing your personnel and knowing, okay, the system might sound great in theory and it might work in other places. Like I hear when, we spoke about the Barca way last time. Everybody wants to play the Barca way, but you need the quality, you need the ability.
Yeah.
You need years and years and generations of training that system for people to understand and adapt and adjust. This doesn't happen overnight. These are not systems. You got to work with the players. They get players that can play and fit within the system. Now, what is Manchester United's system? What is their system of play, right? Arsenal, they're going to play football. They're going to knock the ball. What is Manchester United's football ID?
For me, growing up, it was always the ability to have probably the most lethal counterattack in Europe. That's the way I viewed it. I saw resolute defending with Rio and Vidic and Van der Sar and net, and I saw when that ball got on the move, Paul Scholes is kicking it to Cristiano Ronaldo, who's then putting it to Wayne Rooney, and it's then being finished by whoever, Berbatov, Tevez. I saw a defense to attack in 3 seconds.
You also just mentioned like world football legends there.
I did, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like to your point,
continuously score any giving wherever they play, wherever they go, Argentina, Portugal,
exactly,
wherever it is.
Yeah,
I just think he's gonna be on his way out very soon. But again, you got to be mindful though, because there may be not a lot of options. How much people want to say, okay, you know what? I want to give Manchester United a try.
It's getting to that point.
How much top managers are available?
Or even want to do it,
or want to do it, want to take that on?
Yeah.
They might say, okay, when you guys build your stadium and all that, then I'll come in with a fresh start. Not to say it's the stadium, but they're putting a lot of energy into this new home, and I could only imagine that when they build this new home, they're gonna be like, okay, we want a new look, we want to rebrand this whole team and bring back the Man U of old.
Well, easier said than done.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, Christ's sake. I have a little tidbit for us here. Now, this is actually very interesting. So Real Madrid are compiling a dossier of refereeing decisions, to send to FIFA for them to intervene with the situation in the Liga. I'll lay it all out for you here. Their last match against Real Sociedad, Dejan Huijsen, the center back, got sent off in what was a tumultuous decision. Xabi Alonso quoted saying, "They've distorted reality again. It's a disgrace to the competition." This was after the final whistle. Now, in this dossier compiled by Real Madrid, they're alleging gross negligency or an agenda against the club. And this will include decisions compiled over the last 20 years and the referees, which they feel disadvantaged them. Now, the first bit of information that was made public to us was that they compared their balance of red cards to Barcelona's balance of red cards. And allegedly theirs is plus 65 and Barcelona's is negative 2. I don't know how you have negative amount of red cards. I mean, maybe they're taking this over a number of seasons.
Yeah.
They're including video evidence in this dossier, and they're also quoting the Negreira case. Now, this Negreira case was, I think this came out a couple years ago, and basically it's an ongoing corruption case investigating Barcelona and Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira, the former vice president of the Technical Committee of Referees in the Spanish Football Federation. The case centers around payments totaling 8.4 million euros made by Barcelona to companies that were linked to Negreira, spanning from 2001 to 2018. So this is a long time. Now, Barca claim that they hired him as an external consultant to provide technical reports on refereeing, for whatever that means. And of course, the referee Negreira has denied any of these bribes. Now, what makes this case strange is that there's a letter dated from 2019 where Negreira threatened to expose Barcelona's illegal activities in retaliation for the club finishing their contract with his firm following, whatever, cost reduction, because that was when Barcelona was in a pretty bad time financially, if you remember, under Bartomeu. Now, a collection of La Liga clubs, once this came out, they issued a statement condemning Barcelona. Sevilla even went as far as when they played each other, the directors wouldn't sit in the box with them. They wouldn't have dinner with them before the matches. So, I don't know. We see Premier League clubs and Italian clubs and German clubs and clubs, quite frankly, all over the world question refereeing decisions all the time. I think that's valid. I think that's appropriate. I think if you feel like you've been wronged, you have the right to say it. Is this a step too far? I mean, we're talking about bringing in the world governing body of football into a domestic league, essentially, alleging that Real Madrid, of all people, are being hard done by the referees. Now, whether or not this Barcelona Negreira case is true and whether they accepted bribes and whether or not decisions swayed for them, over the last 25 years, I feel both of those clubs have gotten a lot of calls in their favor. Mm-hmm. And, they shouldn't. If anybody's going to be complaining about the referees, it ought not to be Real Madrid. Mm-hmm. So given all this information, what do you think about it?
It's just not a good look what La Liga needs right now.
No.
With all the stuff that's gone on in the past. Now we're talking about bribing referees. But let's make it clear, this is nothing new to sports.
No.
Globally, internationally, especially in football. But Real Madrid, for me, has had many calls that's very, very questionable. Champions League. I know there was a big thing out on social media about all the calls that went their way when it was very questionable.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, I didn't even realize that, But again, people gotta understand, big clubs get certain calls their way because they're just big clubs. It's like certain, like when Messi's playing, right? You're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt sometimes. He goes down, you're gonna call it. It's just the way it is, just the way it goes. Out of respect, out of, referees are humans. So when they're refereeing in Barca in the new camp, or if they're in Madrid, they're gonna make calls sometimes favorable for Madrid, not because they're purposely doing that. They're just doing it because it's Real Madrid, it's Barcelona, and I know that might sound weird, but it's just I guess human nature. It's just
I agree.
The way it's gonna go. I mean, the two clubs are always gonna be sitting on top, right? You have other clubs that are constantly battling and making a case for themselves, right? But those two are historic clubs, so it's very disappointing, I would say, for this to come out and in this stage, because I think this is not only a big blow to maybe Barca, but this is a big blow to La Liga.
Yeah,
on a league as a whole.
It just looks. It's a bit, for me, La Liga, all these cases, and of course there's that rivalry between Barcelona and Real Madrid. But whenever there's something handled in this manner, it always seems to be a bit childish to me. Mm-hmm. Like if Florentino Perez, the president of Real Madrid, has a problem with the referees, I'm not a Barcelona fan by any means. What good is it going to make for your case if you're like, oh, I'm plus 65 in red cards and Barcelona are minus 2? What does that have to do with anything?
Right.
If you have if you think the referee has an agenda against your club, I understand you're required and pushed to put forward evidence that displays your claim, and maybe using a referee favoring your bitter rival is going to help that. But I just don't see this as necessary. I don't see it as appropriate. And like you said, I mean, for a league that has two of the biggest teams worldwide, easily, two of the most storied clubs worldwide, easily, to have the biggest club in the world questioning the refereeing and accusing corruption in 2025 is insane.
Yeah, I don't think much is going to come of it. It's interesting because it's kind of like a back and forth now, and pulling clubs further apart, and I guess it makes for a bigger Clasico.
It's going to take, actually, yeah. I mean, if we can have a Clasico where the players are beefing, the coaches are beefing, and the presidents are beefing, I think personally for me that makes great TV.
Exactly.
Speaking of Barcelona, we had a discussion way back when about playing time, and we a key figure in that discussion was the youngster wonder kid, one of the best players in the world, Lamine Yamal. Now, we were both saying it's hard to play 60, 70 matches a year, especially when at that time he was only 17 years old. Now we kind of arrived at an unfortunate conclusion where, Lamine Yamal has sustained an injury that is likely going to keep him out of their Champions League matchup against Newcastle. But the circumstances under which that happened are, for me, a bit appalling. He went to Spain for the international break to play for his national team. He was already previously injured. Injured so much that he missed training. Spain took that and said, well, let's just put you up on painkillers and play through it during the matches. He played 73 and 79 minutes respectively while injured. He comes back to Barcelona. They're furious about this, as they should be. I mean, any player, let alone a guy who's still growing and still developing power and strength, and the sinew in his muscle is still becoming mature, to have him go out and play international World Cup qualifiers, quite frankly, against opposition that Spain would have an easy time winning against, I think it's asinine. And it brings up the broader point. And I have a question for you. So, 18 years old, on painkillers, why is this allowed to happen?
It's not right. I disagree with that 100%. It's not right. You're 17-year-old. You shouldn't be on painkillers for just because you want to play a match. And it's not so much the fact that he's injured. It's painkillers is very harsh to your body.
Yeah.
To your liver, to your digestive system. So to have a kid at 17-year-old taking painkillers just to play in a match because you want a result in an environment where you are the favorites anyway. We're talking about referees and stuff. Now we're talking about, abusing a player's health and well-being, right? That's where we got to be very, very careful, especially where we're signing a lot of these young kids. We're putting a lot on a lot of pressure on their backs. He's 17 years old. You're Spain. Like, you have depth, you have quality all over the field. It's not necessary. There's no match that you can put over a player's health and well-being. Now, if Yamal's saying, okay, I want to take it, I want to play, I want to take, then okay. But I still think you need a mediator in there to say, listen, you're gonna sit this one out, all right? You're gonna sit this one out, because at the end of the day, Barca's paying his wages, right? Barca's in the midst of Champions League. Barca is dealing with all these things going on, and good thing they're playing Newcastle. not to take nothing away from Newcastle. Newcastle, right. 10th place in EPL. Are they like a world beater? If anyone you miss him against, it would be a Newcastle. Barcelona is favored to win, but I'm pretty sure Manchester United was favored to beat Grimsby. So anything can happen. But, this is Barca we're talking about. This is Champions League. Yeah, this is not like, a League Cup or anything. But it concerns me for sure that, where's the integrity and the self-consciousness of a player's or a person, not even a player, of a person's well-being at such a tender age.
And I also just think, like, it's also we have kind of a theme today where people are shooting themselves in the foot. Like, they are Spain forgetting that he plays for them too, and he's going to play for them next month and also next year at the World Cup. Like, why are you risking what could develop? What right now is a minor injury, but what could develop into something major if you push the limits of it for a guy that is not only a starter and a star for your team, but a starter and a star for one of the biggest teams in your country.
Exactly.
And I think, you bring up the point, what if he said he wanted to play? Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the manager says, no. Get out of here. Kick rocks. Go and rest. I don't want you on painkillers at 18 years old. Go and rest. Right? Mm-hmm. We need you for future games against harder opposition. Not against, like, all due respect, I think they beat Turkey 6-0. Turkey's a good, solid team. Does Spain need Lamine Yamal to win that game? Clearly they don't. They won 6-0. Can we just move on from that and let the kid rest?
You're not playing Portugal, Germany, Netherlands. You're not playing big guns.
It's a qualifier.
Right?
Win the game. Move on.
Yeah. They're comfortable in that group. They should be comfortable in that group. But he's still young, bro. Like that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of minutes and a lot of time. What happens now? So what are you saying? Old is now 27?
I can't.
28?
I'm shocked. That's your prime.
What happens when he gets to that age? And he's played how many minutes? We gotta manage it. We gotta be a little bit more thoughtful. Again, I don't know what happened behind closed doors, right? It's easy on the outside.
It's impossible to say, really,
right? But give the kid some rest. Let him always play when he's fresh, and I think that's where you're always gonna get the best.
Yeah, I mean, I just again, I'm not really a Barcelona fan by any means, but we're fans of football. And we want to see the best product on the field.
I'm a Barca fan.
You're a Barca fan. I'm not
a realist
too. I'm not a Barca. I have to make that clear. Make that very clear on this show. But no, what I'm trying to say is that we're fans of football. We want the best product, and the last thing I want to see is a guy at the beginning of his career miss extended time because of something that could have easily been prevented. Exactly. That's what makes me upset.
Exactly. We still got to be mindful in the global game that these guys are just kids still.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say next is that, okay, he's 18. Legally, he's an adult. But he doesn't know, honestly, truly, what is best for him in this particular situation. We're not talking about buying an apartment here or picking your next girlfriend. We're talking about, hey, you, the doctor, you are not fit to play. Mm-hmm. There's an issue here that could stem from this. You shouldn't play. Well, I want to play. Well, you shouldn't.
Why do you have to play him for 70 minutes?
Yeah, and do you know how many stupid decisions did you make when you were 18?
Plenty.
Me too.
I still do.
Seems to be an ongoing problem over here.
But you're right. You don't know. You don't really know yourself at 18 years old. Right.
Let's make an informed decision here. Speaking of Champions League, we had a couple of games yesterday. We have a couple more games today. The one I wanted to really probably pick your brain about is we got two. Last week we had a small discussion about Spanish teams versus English teams. Now on this slate, there were four matchups, quite a few. Two of them already happened. England prevailed. Now this is a little different now because we're talking about Atletico Madrid versus Liverpool. Liverpool's a juggernaut. Atletico Madrid will wear them down. They do it to most teams. Barcelona's a juggernaut. Newcastle is the scrappy underdog. Mm-hmm. So I got a proposal for you here. Okay? 2 Spanish teams, 2 English teams over the next 2 days. If both English teams win, you're going to have to wear a Real Madrid jersey next podcast. And if both Spanish teams win, I'll wear a Barcelona jersey next podcast.
No.
Why?
I'm not wearing Real Madrid.
Put that threat on, no? Loyalty over everything, folks.
Okay. That sounds
Stakes
good.
are high.
Stakes are extremely high.
And if
stakes are through the roof.
If it's a split, no, it's voided.
Man.
What are you thinking about that?
Let's do it. Deal.
Man.
Deal.
Amazing. All right, that's great. And
you have to do a sue, right? Just for Real Madrid. You had to put the sue in there for Real Madrid. I like it. Okay.
I had a Messi line from the World Cup. The one where he goes, "Que mira, bobo."
Oh, really? That's always good.
I love that little line from him, man. It makes me laugh. So the Champions League odds at this point in time in the order for teams' favorites to least favorites: Barcelona, Liverpool right at the top at plus 600. Arsenal, PSG in second, tied at plus 700. Then you have Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern, Chelsea, and Napoli at plus 2,500. So these odds are, they're very. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a huge payout if Napoli make it to the final and win. But I think this top 6 is appropriate. I think Liverpool and Barcelona, given last year for Barca and given this year for Liverpool, 100% they're at the top of the odds. I mean, barring any capitulation from Liverpool, I could see it. Arsenal, I have a hard time putting as third favorites. We talked about last week about how Mikel Arteta may be holding them back, and I do think that is exactly what is happening. Now, the other issue I see here is that Arsenal played at Bilbao in their first game. They won 2-0. But Arteta had this quote that drove me up the wall. This is his quote. That we are good enough that we can compete against any opposition on the day, and on top of that, two things have to go your way. You have to have a full squad available when it comes to the most critical moments in the season, and the ball has to go in at the right moment with the right decision. It has to be because of the margins, and they are so small. I read that as like, okay, it's just like manager jargon. Why are you telling me what needs to go your way? Why are you preparing yourself for an excuse that I didn't have a full squad if you lose? And then also, like, I just look at this quote as you're getting ready for a big excuse. And I see that and I'm like, okay, well, that's prototypical Mikel Arteta. He is a guy who goes into big matches and seems to always come out on the bottom because he was too careful and pragmatic and conservative in his play. And this quote here screams pragmatism to me.
Mm-hmm. He stated the obvious for me. I think we all know the game is about margins, right? And if you capitalize on those small, minute margins, you will come out on top, right? You are managing a squad that is deep. Yes, you have deep pockets, but you are managing a squad that anything can happen, and players have to fill roles and come in and adjust and be able to adapt. So you are playing in Champions League, you are playing in League. It is open doors. He's got to find a way to manage that, and I just think that he's just stating that, that's your job. And you should know that. You should know that going into a club like that. I don't read into it as much as you did.
I don't like it at all, man. I don't like it at all. I mean, like, it screams to me that he's already preparing for some sort of stupid excuse about how his team plays. And you're right in the way.
But they're winning.
They're winning, but like they're losing against who they need to win. Like we talked about last week, they lost against Liverpool. That match could prove decisive in 5 months' time, 6 months' time. I'm just annoyed that, first of all, you're right. He's saying the obvious. I don't care about the obvious. Don't tell me about the obvious. You're supposed to be an innovator.
So you're saying they're supposed to beat Liverpool?
I'm saying they're supposed to put up a fight. They didn't put up a fight. They lost 1-0. They have a plethora of attacking talent. They should have scored at least one goal in a team that has the leakiest defensive unit in the Premier League.
But they're in first place.
They're in first place because they score more than their opponents.
Well, that's the name of the game.
Sorry, no, what a stupid quote, honestly. Have a word with Jesus Christ, honestly.
Your game's to score more.
No, you know what I mean in the
You're
effect.
You're not gonna get mad. You won, and you're like, oh
no,
man, we won the league, won Champions League, but we got in 3 goals. Even though I
said it wrong. I meant like they're letting goals in. Yeah, they're so overloaded offensively because of this new window that they're winning games. Whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that game, if they lost 4-3 or 3-2, good. Yeah. Good. You lost because this team has a deeper roster and deeper pockets at the time, and they had an immense transfer window and brought in some of the world's best attacking talent. To lose 1-0 and throughout that entire game not show any desire to really take it to the team, sure, they're the best in the league, but you're competing for the title too. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to take it. It's like, imagine in 2012. The height of El Clasico, Messi, Ronaldo. That's like if your team Barcelona went into a game against Real Madrid and didn't play tiki-taka the Barca way. Mm-hmm. It's like, imagine they played imagine they parked the bus. Mm-hmm. There'd be calls to have a public hanging for Pep Guardiola tomorrow, the day after. It's true. So the fact that we're still in this mode of Arteta doing the same stuff over and over again, and then he says a quote that relates to that ahead of a Champions League game in which they should be winning comfortably. It hit me the wrong way.
Which they did.
And they won 2-0. Yeah. They won 2-0, and good on them. We'll see what happens when they play a tougher opposition.
The thing is you have to also be able to adjust and adapt, because there is times where you're going to have to sit back and weather the storm. Yeah. Right? So maybe he's testing that early doors. Maybe he's saying, okay, we're going to come to a space where we're going to have to play a certain way. Let's try it and see how the team adapts now. I rather, from a manager standpoint, you have to see what your teams could manage and handle in various situations. Better to do that now while you're sitting in second, while you won a Champions League, and see as the season gets deeper, and the games get more intense, okay, I can't do this because I know we have a hard time maybe on a low block. So we have to be dynamic in a way. And that's what managers are doing right now. For me, I think managers are feeling their team out. They're saying, okay, right, made some changes, made some adjustments. I know we're going to probably, you have to think, okay, we're not looking at this group we have in front of us. We're looking, okay, if we pass this group, we could play X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
And when we play those guys, we have to be able to adjust and adapt. Barca plays Barca way everywhere they go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Certain teams, they play a certain style everywhere they go, right? Juve, Inter, they play a certain style everywhere they go, right? But you have to be able to adjust and adapt in order to compete, to go further in those competitions. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's how he's looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, they maybe haven't won a Premier League title, but they've had a lot of success under Arteta in terms of finishes and revenue, and obviously making the semifinal of the Champions League last year. So I'll back off of
which
him.
I didn't think.
Yeah,
to be honest, I said, what? They're in semifinals of the Champions League?
Yeah,
I was surprised. So, hey, I mean that's it now. But again, as I said, you make the semifinals last year, the expectation rises. Right? Exactly.
Our last topic here is something that I just picked up recently, and it's an interesting little thing that I saw. So in the NFL, in the Indianapolis Colts, usually, I mean, in any sport really, you have like the coach, the GM up in the box or whatever, and the owners somewhere making gazillions of dollars and watching the game. The Indianapolis Colts owner has now decided for the beginning of the 2025-26 season that she will be on the sideline with a headset monitoring the coach's playing calling. And she says it's to protect her investment. I'm putting all this money into the team. I'm putting all my faith into this coach. I want to make sure that he's doing the right thing. A couple weeks ago, we had the Nottingham Forest owner, Marinakis, rush onto the field and question their former manager, who's since been fired, Nuno Espirito Santo. Are owners insane? First of all, my first question. And second of all, when you see as a player this happening, or the coach in the sidelines, if this happened to you, does that instill a sense of confidence in your manager or your team, or does that just say like, there's a situation going on up top that inevitably is going to trickle down to our level? It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I think that's overstepping your role, your responsibilities, and putting real discomfort, not only in the coaching, but the coaching staff and the entire, all the players, right? To have your ownership there with headsets, it's just, you're kind of crossing the line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're entering into an environment where you're going to hear everything that's going to happen in those headsets. And some guys might take the piss and say something purposely, right? And mess around because,
you're right.
Why would you put yourself, why would you open yourself to that kind of environment, and vulnerability, and take it personal like that you feel that you have to step in, or maybe you're not sure about the coach that you're signing, or you're not sure about their decisions they're making, that you want to do that. So as a coach, I'll be like, you know what, if you want to do that, you can coach the team then.
It's exactly my ideology on it. It's just like, you hired me because you believe in me, and what, especially for a coach, like in the interview, I imagine they're bringing to the table all of their ideas and how they want, like, their plan for the next 5 years, and their plan for the team and development and everything, every facet you have to, your manager, your coach. But to then say, you're hired, and then bringing it back to like, but I'm going to be accompanying you on the sidelines, or I'm going to be rushing the field and questioning your tactics in public in front of the entire nation. And it's like, well, then why did you hire me in the first place?
We're running play XY4 3L2. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're running 45X 21Z. You're like, what? Where's that?
That is something that could legitimately happen. That could legitimately happen.
And the player's like, Coach, what are we running? And then, okay, running whatever she said. We'll just do that.
But then what if he goes, yeah, let's will go with the owner's play as a player.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
And it works.
Now we're in.
I mean, she's calling all the plays.
Now we're in different territory, man. Like,
and if it doesn't work, it's tension. So that's what I'm saying. Why would you put yourself in that environment to expose yourself like that?
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, you're setting everybody up for failure.
Yeah.
Right? You're investing in your club. You just got to make sure from your standpoint, when you look down, it represents however you see it. But to get in the, walking down and getting in the coach's, questioning the coach, like there's a time and place for that. After the game, 2 days in, you call them into a room and you sit down and say, why did you make this decision?
Yeah. And, there's some part of me that likes seeing them so involved, like, especially when it... No, but...
The only time I like to see owners involved is again, the next day, the owner... I've had ownership groups come into the locker room and say, guys, we want to treat you guys because you've done so well. We also had owners come in there and kick stuff and throw stuff around and say, hey, if we don't get the results soon, heads are going to be turning.
Mm-hmm. That's my point, though.
Right? And
I like seeing that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't mind that, but not to be on the field.
No.
Because even as a player, and you don't agree with the coach, I'm gonna have to say, well, I don't agree with you now because you're overstepping.
And then you're breaking that fourth wall between somebody who really you shouldn't be negotiating with.
Right.
At all, or talking to at all, whether it's about the game or whether it's about your contract, because there's two separate people involved. There's a hierarchy of individuals that were put there to make barriers between you and the person who owns the team and makes the financial decisions. And part of me, what I was going to say, I like that. Like, come in the room and every once in a while, if we're in a bad run of form or if we're super successful, give me praise, give me criticism, light a fire under our asses type of thing. But I just think that an owner's job is to be a steward of the club and to get the faith of fans on your side so that they can trust you that you're going in the right direction. You're going to bring not only results on the pitch, but results financially. Because, you think about all these small teams all over the world, a lot of what they care about, it comes to economics. Mm-hmm. So I'm putting my faith in you to do that. And I don't know why, but having the owner on the sideline so visible all the time, it rubs me the wrong way.
Completely.
It doesn't instill confidence in my team. It says it's screaming there's something wrong here.
Insecurity.
But
even as a player, you're not going to want to
faith.
You're not going to want to play for an organization like that.
And also, it's bad for the owner because, like we just said, why are you talking to the players? You're not supposed to be developing a relationship with the players, because tomorrow you might have to cut somebody. Tomorrow you'll have to sign somebody else. Tomorrow you'll have to ship somebody out for somebody in return. Like, this is why most GMs don't have a personal relationship with their players beyond signings and contract extensions. It's a horrible idea.
Right.
It's a horrible idea. Let's move on to
this is
offside or on point
heritage
with Dwayne Rosario. We have 3 interesting ones today. One of them we actually talked about, so we'll skip that. We have 2 really good ones today. All right? First one. Manchester City will see Pep Guardiola announce he's leaving before the season's end. The dynasty's waning. He's set up the team for someone else to take the reins whilst leaving it in a good position. Offside or on point?
I think it's both. I think it's offside and on point.
We're going to have
a look. Of course we'll have a look.
Explain that.
Well, I don't think he's setting the team up for a transition. I think Pep's a winner. He wants to win, and while he's there, he's gonna want to win. But I think he's probably just maybe exhausted a little bit, maybe tired.
I think both of those are true.
And at the end of the year, he's probably gonna be like, you know what, I'm going to win, but if it doesn't happen, I'm probably gonna want a different challenge.
Yeah, but what do you think about, like, he's been there for quite a while. I think it's like 8 years now. He's won everything there is to win. Do you think that this person said setting the roster up for somebody to take the reins? Do you think they're meaning it like, in case he leaves, the team will be in a position to keep on being successful?
Well,
without that being on his conscience.
I just think that's the way he is. I just think everything
true.
he does, he's going to want to win regardless. So I guess you can say he's setting it up, but he's not intentionally setting it up because he's setting up because he wants to win. And whoever takes that is already gonna have a stack, maybe minor tweaks here and there. As you know, managers come with their own players, with their own kind of ideas of who they would want on the field. But Pep's a winner, man. He wants to win, and at the end of the year, I could see him saying, you know what, I served my time here. It's been good, and maybe take some time off and look for another challenge.
So that one is right down the middle, offside or on point. Well, we'll do that one. Football heritage, technically.
Heritage.
Because it is Pep Guardiola. Second one. This is actually an interesting one. I'm not too sure how I feel about it. Let's see what you think. Michael Owen, Ballon d'Or winner, was better than Wayne Rooney. Is better than Wayne Rooney, Harry Kane, and Alan Shearer, based on performances, versatility, the Ballon d'Or, and the ability to go to other clubs like Real Madrid and have that pedigree. Onside or offside?
Well, what do you want me to say? He's onside. I mean, he's won a Ballon d'Or. Are those guys winning Ballon d'Ors?
No, they did not. Do you think he's better than Wayne Rooney?
He played in Madrid. He's played outside of the Prem. I mean, stats don't lie, bro. You win a Ballon d'Or, that's the greatest individual honor for any footballer. So Wayne Rooney hasn't won a Ballon d'Or. I think you got to go with stats on that one. Do I think he does more as a player, like technically, than Wayne Rooney?
Yeah,
I think that could be debated, but I think you can't take away what he's accomplished in his career.
No, I don't think of course we can't, but do you not think like Wayne Rooney is prime was right in the middle of Ronaldo, Messi? Like it was nearly impossible. Players that should have won the Ballon d'Or.
Same with Michael Owen.
No, Wayne Rooney, I'm saying. Wayne Rooney's prime was probably, 08, 09, 10, 11. I'm saying that Wayne Rooney had the problem.
With Ronaldo and Ronaldinho, he won with Thierry Henry.
You got me there. You got me there.
He won Del Piero. What do you, Figo, what do you, like, come on, what do you want to keep going?
No, stop. Stop it. Okay, but what about a guy like Alan Shearer? This is leading goal scorer in the Premier League history of the league.
Did he win a Ballon d'Or?
No, he didn't.
The Ballon d'Or is the deciding factor. It's like saying Argentina, is the Argentina now because they play amazing football, better than the Argentina that won the World Cup. No, the Argentina won the World Cup. How can you say they?
There's a tangible thing right there for you to look at and say, like, yeah,
he was the best player. Right. Who was he up against? The
voting.
The voting. I want to look this up. Okay, guys. I mean, Totti.
What are you talking about? Average.
Raul, average. Rivaldo, average. Zidane. Average players, though. Oliver Kahn, David Beckham.
He's okay.
Nesta, Crespo, Roberto Carlos. I don't know. Like, it's
the only point.
Okay, guys.
The only point I was making was like he was in elite, like he's fighting for an award that literally on paper he's not going to win. He's not going to win with those two guys in the world football. They're just not going to win. The way the voting works, the way the bias works, they traded for 10 years. So
whoa, who's not going to win?
Wayne Rooney.
Against who?
Against Ronaldo or Messi.
Well, how can he win?
That's what I'm saying. So
no, you're saying about the biases.
I'm saying a little bit with the biases. Yeah, I mean the
what biases?
But all I'm saying is like we talk about the same bias we talk about with Real Madrid when you're a referee.
No, but I want to know what bias you can bias out of Messi and or Ronaldo.
If Ronaldo scores 65 goals in a calendar year, are you not going to give him the Ballon d'Or?
No, yeah, if other players aren't scoring that much.
Now, what if? All I'm saying is, what if Wayne Rooney, Champions League finalist, wins the Premier League, highest scorer in both. Let's say he wins the FA Cup, but then you have two individuals, Ronaldo and Messi, who are putting up over 65 goals and assists and fighting tooth and nail. Maybe one of them has the La Liga title, the other one has
Champions League.
No, not even that. Like maybe even like Copa del Rey or something like that. So you have really good.
But that's not true.
I'm just making an example.
You can't make an example that's not true. It's documented. Like
so we'll go by season. So like, but all I'm saying is if Rooney was if he decided to
he's amazing.
What if he amazing. What if that wasn't there? Is all I'm saying. Would he have a better chance at being the best player in world football? I think yes. and I think maybe there would have been a chance for Ballon d'Or. Not to say he would have won it, but I just think I see Wayne Rooney, like that's one of the best English players ever that was really good from a young age, like Michael Owen.
100%.
That like maybe he didn't have the breakout season that Michael Owen had to win the Ballon d'Or, but also the criteria over the time where he would have won it or been able to win it, it changed a lot. Because, look at Nedved's Ballon d'Or winning season. Like those stats are nowhere near what they were for Ronaldo, Messi, because those guys changed the game. Cannavaro has a Ballon d'Or. Nothing to take away from how good he is, but the criteria for the award changed. And I think it changed in the favor of Galacticos guys like we had with Ronaldo, Messi.
But don't forget, Nedved is a different player.
Yeah, true. Yes,
in terms of what he did, right, on the field, it wasn't his Ballon d'Or wasn't valued towards how much goals or assists he scored.
No.
His value was what he contributed to his team and national team and to the game, right? So you can't look at it and say, okay, well, he scored so many goals and this guy scored this much goals. Who's the Ballon d'Or go to? It's not a striker and goal scoring competition.
I'm not saying that, but it's easier to give an award in an era where nobody's putting up those numbers versus in an era where there's two guys putting them up year in, year out. And I think that in Michael Owen's case, he was brilliant in that year. I'm sure, I don't know his numbers off by heart, but I'm sure
he wasn't brilliant. He was the best player.
He was the best player in the world. He was brilliant. He was brilliant in that 1 year. He was brilliant. But my point being is it's hard not to change the criteria because Ronaldo Messi.
He went to Real Madrid during Galacticos.
No, I agree.
He didn't go there like when Real Madrid was kind of putting some team together.
I agree.
He went there at Ronaldo, Figo, Zidane. This goes on and on.
Yes,
he played. He was.
I agree.
There's no other English player that went to Real Madrid
other than Beckham.
But I don't think he impacted Madrid as much as Owen did. It's to be questioned. He had a longer stint at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So that would probably give him that. But in terms of when he went there.
But he's also undoubtedly one of the best players of that era.
100%.
I just think it was a shorter lived period in a harder time. I mean, again, the criteria changed.
Scored great goals.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, England wasn't.
No. Not topping that era.
Not topping that era.
No.
Individually, amazing player. What a player! But again, I can't take him out of that era and put him in another era, and it would be unfair to do the same with Michael Owen.
Yeah,
put him in another era.
Yeah, I think his prime is definitely shorter lived than most of these guys, and I think when we think about Wayne Rooney, we just think about he had a really good. I think he came on the scene in Euro 04 or World Cup 06, and he had a fantastic performance at 18. That's we're talking about Lamine Yamal. It's the same idea in a much more physical era, and then he's
also a solid guy.
He's a big guy, built like Shrek. Yeah. And then he had a short-lived prime over years where that play in that league was overshadowed by the play of two of the greatest ever to ever play the game with two of the biggest clubs to ever exist in the world. So I think there's a bit of that aspect going on, but yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I'll never be upset with somebody picking Michael Owen over Rooney. So is this take, to sum it all up, is this take onside or offside?
Like I said, I answered it.
Onside. Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, Ballon d'Or, man. You can't beat a Ballon d'Or.
You can't do it. Well, that concludes it. We've been at the Gauntlet here again. Thank you so much for listening to DeRo and the Diehard. Our next episode will be out on Friday, and as usual, we're going to be covering everything in the football world. DeRo?
Stay tuned for the next episode. DeRo and the Diehard, all things football.